Hello guys, welcome to Vidya Education English section. So today we are starting a beginner course based on the English grammar section. In this video we are describing the sentence part. I think most of the people know what is a sentence, but some of them don't know what is a sentence mean or the definition of a simple sentence. In this video we are describing or discussing or familiarizing the topic sentence, and based on the topic what is a sentence, subject and predicate, kinds of sentences, and finally negative and positive sentences, or else we can say positive and negative sentences. Okay, let's start the section. So what is a sentence? The sentence is the meaningful unit of communication. The sentence is the meaningful unit of communication. That's a sentence. Ideas are conveyed in a group of words which carry complete sense. Ideas are conveyed in group of words which carry complete sense. Such word groups are called sentences. So sentences are ideas which are conveyed in group of words which carry complete sense. That is a sentence. For example, my brother lives in India. My brother lives in India. That is a sentence. That sentence has a complete sense. That sentence has a complete sense. A sentence can end with a question mark too. So, where are you? Where are you is a sentence. Where are you is a sentence. A sentence can end with a full stop or question mark or exclamatory mark. So, how beautiful is the view? How beautiful is the view is a sentence too. How beautiful is the view is a sentence too. So, secondly, we have to say in actual speech context, single words like yes, no, never, and so on can also carry meaning. So, the single words like yes, no, never is also a sentence. Are you a professor? Yes. Yes is a sentence, and are you a professor is also a sentence. Is your friend a teacher? No. No is also a sentence. Is your friend a teacher is also a sentence. Have you ever been to USA? Have you ever been to USA? Is the answer would be never. Never is also a sentence. It's also a sentence. Secondly, we are going to divide this sentence into subject and predicate. In a sentence, there are two sections. The first section is subject, the second section is predicate. The subject names the person or thing that we speak about, and the predicate says something about the subject. So, the subject names the person or thing that we speak about, and the predicate says something about the subject. The subject, or otherwise we can call the naming part. The naming part is normally a noun or its equivalent. The subject, the naming part, is normally a noun or its equivalent. The entire group of words forming the subject is called the noun phrase in modern grammar. The entire group of words forming the subject is called the noun phrase in or NP in modern grammar. Similarly, the predicate, or else we can say the telling part, which includes the verb and other words of further information, is called the verb phrase. Similarly, the predicate, the telling part, which includes the verb and other words of further information, is called the verb phrase in modern grammar or modern terminology VP. Okay. If you don't understand the statement regarding the subject and predicate, just see this table and understand what is a subject or the naming part or a noun phrase, and what is the predicate or the telling part or the verb phrase. So frog jumped. Frog jumped. Here the subject or the noun phrase is the frog and the predicate is jumped. Frog jumped. Next, dog barked. Dog barked. So here the subject is dog and the predicate is barked. Next, birds fly. Birds fly. So here the subject is birds and the predicate is fly. So we are expanding the subject and predicate in the next table. See that green frog. So the frog became green frog. Green frog jumped high. Green frog jumped high. So here the subject is green frog and the predicate is jumped high. Next, see the dog, my dog. The dog became my dog. It is also a subject. And the predicate becomes barked at the cat. Barked at the cat. And birds became some birds fly high. Some birds fly high. Some birds became the subject and predicate becomes the fly high. So we are expanding again the subject and predicate. So the frog becomes the big green frog. The big green frog. The big green frog jumped. The predicate becomes jumped high across the log. Jumped high across the log. And my dog transformed into my dog Barney. My dog Barney. The name of the dog Barney. Name of the dog Barney. And the predicate is barked at the cat inside the hall. And birds begin. Some birds with large wings. Some birds with large wings fly high over the Pacific Ocean. Fly high over the Pacific Ocean. That is the predicate. Okay, some birds with large wings fly high over the Pacific Ocean. From the verb fly, it start the predicate. See that we can classify these predicate when we find out the verb. We can understand the predicate when we find out the verb. See the big green frog jumped. There starts the verb jumped. From that we can say that's the predicate. Next, my dog Barney barked is the verb there. From that barked we can say that section is the predicate. And some birds with the large wings fly. Fly here is the verb. So the predicate always starts with the verb. The predicate always starts with the verb. Okay, just keep in mind that always every time the predicate starts with the verb. So we can easily classify these subject into predicate. Okay, we can easily classify these subject into predicate. So subject, we can say subject is the naming part. So the names the person or thing we speak about. Okay, the predicate is predicate says something about the subject. The predicate says something about the subject. So we can classify, when we get a question, classify the subject and predicate. So we can easily understand or we can easily classify the predicate when we find out the verb. Okay. So that's subject and predicate. Next we are studying the kinds of sentences. The kinds of sentences. There are 4 types of sentences, 4 kinds of sentences. They are assertive or declarative sentences, interrogative sentences, imperative sentences, and exclamatory sentences. These are the 4 types of sentences. So here we are in the third section. We are studying about the kinds of sentences. So what is an assertive sentence or declarative sentence? A sentence which states or declares or asserts something is called an assertive or declarative sentence. Okay, a sentence which states or declares or asserts something is called an assertive or declarative sentences. Always the Always the assertive and declarative sentences ends with a full stop. Always the assertive and declarative sentence ends with a full stop. In an assertive sentence, normally the subject is followed by the verb. In an assertive sentence, normally the subject is followed by the verb. But sometimes the order is changed for special effects of child. But sometimes it gets changed. The order is changed for special effects of child by the effects of style by the writers. Okay. The following sentence statements are the example for assertive or declarative sentences. Ashoka was a great emperor. Ashoka was a great emperor. The dog is a useful animal. The dog is a useful animal. The sun is bright. The sun is bright. Okay. Next, the second type of sentences, interrogative sentence. Interrogative sentence. So what is an interrogative sentence? The interrogative sentence always ends with a question mark. The interrogative sentences always end with a question mark. For example, is your brother a teacher? Is your brother a teacher? Who taught you English? So these are the example for interrogative sentences. So always understand this thing. A sentence ends with a question mark is called an interrogative sentence. So keep in mind that a sentence ends with a question mark is an interrogative sentence. Next, imperative sentence. It's also simple. It's also as simple as interrogative sentence. So what is an imperative sentence? A sentence which expresses a command, a request, a prayer, a wish, or a piece of advice. Such sentences are called imperative sentences. Sentences which express these ideas. Which ideas? A command, a request, a prayer, a wish, or a piece of advice is called an imperative sentence or imperative sentences. For example, please close the door. Please close the door. That's a request. Go away. Go away. It's a command. So it is an imperative sentence. Take care of your health. Take care of your health. It is an advice. It is a piece of advice. So it is an imperative sentence. Forgive my sins. Forgive my sins. It's a prayer. It's a prayer. It is also an imperative sentence. So finally, the exclamatory sentences. Exclamatory sentences are sentences which convey sudden feelings. Exclamatory sentences are sentences which convey sudden feelings. And keep in mind that, always remain that they always end with an exclamation mark. They always end with an exclamation mark. The exclamatory sentences always ends with an exclamation mark. Always end with an exclamation mark. For example, what a shot! What a shot! That sentence ends with an exclamation mark. We can say that is an exclamatory sentence. What an idea! What an idea! We are saying what an idea it was, or it is. What an idea it is. So it also ends with an exclamation mark. So it's exclamatory sentence. And another examples are how hot it is today. How hot it is today. What a thrilling story. What a thrilling story. So these are the 4 kinds of sentences or the 4 types of sentences, which are the assertive or declarative sentence, interrogative sentences, third one imperative sentences, and fourth one exclamatory sentences. If you didn't get the idea, just rewind it once more and understand again. We are coming to the final section of the sentence section, negative and positive sentences. So, what is a negative sentence and what is a positive sentence? A sentence becomes negative when we insert the following negative expression in the proper place in the positive or affirmative sentences, like no, not, never, neither, no, not at all, and so on. So a sentence becomes negative when we insert the following expression, following negative expression, which are the no, not, never, neither, no, not at all. These, when we insert these negative expression into a positive sentence, it become negative. It become negative. So when we insert these negative expression in the proper place of a positive sentence, it became negative. For example, Sita likes sweets. Sita likes sweet. So it is a positive sentence because it has no negative factor or negative expression. So we can call that sentence as a positive sentence. So it becomes negative. How? Sita doesn't like or does not like sweets. Sita doesn't or does not like sweets. So that sentence is a negative sentence. Negative sentence. Sita likes sweets is a positive sentence when we insert a not in a proper place. Does not. When we insert a does not in that section, it became negative. Sita doesn't like sweets or Sita does not like sweets. Raj is a good student. Raj is a good student. It's a positive sentence. When we insert a negative expression which is not in the after the verb is, it became a negative. Raj is not a good student. Raj is not a good student. Or we can say Raj isn't a good student. Raj isn't a good student. It became negative. When we insert the negative expression in the positive or affirmative sentence which is not, it became negative. We see a statement become positive and negative. A statement transformed into positive and negative. So what are the cases in the commands and request and question which are yes or no questions? Close your books, please. Close your books, please. So when we insert the don't in the first section of a command or request, it became negative. Do not close your books, please. Do not close your books, please. Or don't close your books, please. Close the door. It's a command. Close the door. It's a positive sentence and it became negative when we insert a negative expression in the first section of a command. Do not close the door. Do not close the door. Or don't close the door. It became negative. Next, in the third category, question which invite yes or no answers. Okay. Is he a teacher? Is he a teacher? It's a positive sentence. It's a positive sentence. So the answer will be yes or no. We don't know that. So it became negative when we insert a not in that. Is he not a teacher? Is he not a teacher? Or isn't he a teacher? Isn't he a teacher? Okay, it became negative. We insert the negative expression in a positive sentence. It became negative. Do you speak English? Do you speak English? Or don't you speak English? Don't you speak English? Don't you speak English? Or do you not speak English? Do you not speak English? Okay, so these are the positive and negative sentences. I hope you understand the section of the sentence section. So we just covered almost everything in the sentence section. If you didn't get the idea of any of the part in this section, just rewind it once more and rewind it again and again, repeat and repeat. Then you will get a clear-cut image of the sentence section. So thank you for watching Vidya Education.